Today we're playing some standard, but we can never lose the game and our opponents can never win the game. So here is our Herald of Eternal Dawn deck for standard, and this deck's pretty hilarious. So we are built around our new, bigger, better Platinum Angel in Herald of Eternal Dawn. So Herald of Eternal Dawn, 7 mana 6/6 flash flyer. This simply says we can't lose the game, our opponents can't win the game. So the goal of our deck is pretty simple. We are trying to set up a game state where we can play Herald of Eternal Dawn and protect Herald of Eternal Dawn, and that essentially wins us the game. If we can keep Herald around forever, our opponent can't ever win, we can't ever lose. Sooner or later, worst case, our opponent will draw their entire deck, run out of cards, and we win the game by default. So getting Herald on the battlefield, that is step number one. The problem is Herald just dies to everything. So how do we actually keep Herald on the battlefield? Our biggest plan is Restricted Office Lecture Hall. So Lecture Hall in specific, enchantment that says other permanents that we control have hexproof. So what we really want to do is get 2 of these on the battlefield. If we get 2 lecture halls, they give each other hexproof, which means target or removal can't kill any of our stuff. Yeah, we can still get Sunfalled, and black decks could have nowhere to run, which makes us very sad. But assuming we can dodge those things, this essentially gives us a hexproof forever Herald of Eternal Dawn, which beats most decks all by itself. We also have a plan to speed this up. Since we're playing Restricted Office Lecture Hall, we have Ghostly Dancers, specifically to unlock Lecture Hall, also to get it back from the graveyard if it dies. But we can play Restricted Office, blow some stuff up, Ghostly Dancers, unlock Lecture Hall. It's a way we can get the 7 mana enchantment opened on the cheap. And since we're playing Ghostly Dancers, we also have Steaming Sauna Roaring Furnace for some removal and some extra card draw. So that's our primary goal of the deck. Get a Herald of Eternal Dawn with 2 Lecture Halls. But then we need some extra support. So Treasure Map actually just ramps us into Herald of Eternal Dawn, speeds things up. The other key card is 3 steps ahead. So I mentioned before that even if we get the hexproof lock set up with Herald of Eternal Dawn, something like a Sunfall, or, oh god, nowhere to run, that card's a nightmare for us, but those cards can still get around the lock. So 3 steps ahead is kind of a catch-all. If our opponent has a Sunfall, if they have a nowhere to run, this can stop it. Plus, we can always use it to copy the Herald of Eternal Dawn to get around some removal if we don't have the hexproof lock set up. So really important there. The rest of the deck, kind of typical control stuff. Torch the Tower, get lost, Sunfall for some removal, mana base, ton of dual lands, some fountain ports, and that is our Herald of Eternal Dawn. You can't win the game, and we can't lose the game forever deck. So let's jump into some games and see if this plan can work. Can we actually set up a game state where we can never lose the game and maybe win at 0 life, -100 life, something like that with Herald of Eternal Dawn? Let's find out. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll be back in a bit for the wrap up. Need some magic cards? Well, you can snag them from our sponsor, Card Kingdom, over at cardkingdom.com/mtggoldfish. Want to help out the channel? Well, you can snag these super sweet new dice, playmats, tokens, and more over at mtggoldfishmerch.com. It is never dying time. Hopefully never dying time. We are playing some Herald of the Eternal Dawn, and this hand's got the Herald. It's obviously a little bit expensive, but if we get to it, look out. We even have our hexproof room, which that's the full lock we're going for, right? Angel, 2 hexproof rooms, maybe a counter backup. Opponent me, oh god. All right. Buckle up. It might be a long one. If our opponent's playing mono white control of some kind. Woo! This might be a match. This might be a game. All right, opponent. What do you got? Authority of the Console. Sure. I don't think we really care about that. Remember, like, our opponent's going to gain life as we do our stuff. Yeah, we got to try to draw land here, unfortunately. We only have 4 counters, and wasting them really hurts because we really want them to protect our Angel in the late game once we get the lock set up from, like, a sweeper or whatever. But we got to hit our land drops. Like, missing a land drop here. Oh, no. Oh, no. Ooh. Well, sorry, Herald. I hate to discard it because it lets our opponent know we're playing Herald, but oh, thank goodness. All right, we got the Fabled Passage, so we're good. So we could run out Restricted Office. Not worth it. If we get to 5, we will run out the Sauna to start drawing extra cards. We might just pass and leave up the counter. Playing Restricted Office and not killing anything feels very weird, but I feel like this is a matchup where our opponent's not going to have a lot to kill, so I don't know how much it really matters. Are we going to Maze Mindstone? All right, opponent remembered their Maze Mindstone. Well, at least we're up against a white deck. So this deck in our lock the colors do matter. Good news against white is, if we get the lock assembled, we should be fine, right? They shouldn't be able to break out of the hexproof lock. The bad news against white is they probably got Wraths, and Wraths can kill an angel through the hexproof lock. Still, I would rather play against white, I think, than black. Black is, I think, the hardest just because nowhere to run. That beats our hexproof lock by itself. Oh, yeah, we gotta do it. 3 steps ahead. Do a little looting. Wow, still not a land. I mean, I'm glad we used these 3 steps ahead, or we would have been missing land drops for literal days. Because we're still barely making our land drops, even with them. At least our opponent's also having land issues. All right. Well, Relistance Anchorage and Treasure Map. I love Treasure Map. Why do people not play Treasure Map more? I feel like Treasure Map's actually still very good. And it's actually especially good in this deck because we really want to get up to 7 mana for Angel and for... Okay, sure. Rip. The good old best of 1 meta. Our opponent is metagaming hard. Authority of the Consoles for mono red. Rest in peace for graveyard decks. If only we were doing things that cared about their hate cards, they'd be in really good shape. We can always blow them up if we need to. We just don't need to, I don't think. I guess Authority of the Consoles... Yeah, we'll keep it plain. So we want to just keep hitting our land drops. We might just run out of Sauna here. I think we just run out of Sauna, start drawing some cards. I don't know how many creatures they're going to have to kill. Plus, we can always unlock the removal room later. All right, opponent. Scries was the Maze Mind's Dome. So, our game plan for now... I mean, we are a straight-up control deck, so we're not gonna win quick. We're playing for the late game. So I think our game plan is try to get Hexproof online with Lecture Hall. Ah, Caretaker Stanley. Okay. Well, our plan might have changed a little bit. Now our plan might be to keep our opponent from drawing extra cards. Although, can we realistically... Do we try to keep our opponent from drawing cards, or do we let them draw cards and try to live with Angel and mill them out? We might be on the mill them out plan. Well, all right. Let's go bottom. We're gonna scry again upkeep and flip the treasure map anyway. Don't really need a tap land. If we had a land here... Well, it's another tap land. Yeah, all right, whatever. To the bottom with ya. I feel like we're going to hit our lands at this point. Ooh, Ghostly Dancers. Hold me closer, Ghostly Dancers. Opponent. Yeah, let's get lost this Caretaker's Talent, I think. Actually, I'm really torn. You know what? Let's Lecture Hall. Let's Lecture Hall. I mean, this is the main game plan, right? Get the Hexproof lockdown. So Lecture Hall number 1, it's so much mana, but... Now all of our non-Lecture Hall permanents have Hexproof. If we can find a second Lecture Hall, then we have the Hexproof lock, as long as there's not a nowhere to run, which ruins our day, but Maze Mind's down for our opponent. So we're halfway there. Once we get the Hexproof lock, then we need the Angel, and then we need to not get Wrath, basically. I was thinking, as I've been playing this deck, we've seen this town bouncing enchantments be so good. Why is no one bouncing like Roaring Furnace? Like, couldn't we do more with the rooms and like the this town plan? Opponent. Maze Mind's Dome number 2. We're both drawing a lot of cards, that's for sure. That's the thing about killing the Caretaker's Talent, which we might still need to do, but our opponent has so much card draw in their deck. I'm not sure we can actually just really shut it all off, realistically. We have a lot of cards in hand. They just don't really do much at the moment. Yeah, let's just pass. I think we're just gonna do Fountain Port shenanigans. Fountain Port with a flip treasure. Ooh, there's the Angel. Well, we don't really want to run out the Angel yet. We don't have the full Hexproof lock, and we're not in danger of dying. Okay. Opponent's gonna make a token. Sure. Well, so I think we're gonna kill the Elspeth. We gotta kill the Elspeth. It does go to exile. Opponent gets to draw with Caretaker's Talent. Oh, I really want one more Lecture Hall. Let's make a treasure. Having more mana than your opponent, pretty good in a control mirror. I feel like the make a treasure mode on Fountain Port's kind of underrated. If you get to that point, just like building up a bunch of treasures, doubly so with the treasure map flip, because we can always turn them into cards if we want to pretty cheaply. I guess get Ghostly Dancers down. I am very convinced our opponent has a Wrath in hand, but I guess one of the ways we can deal with the Wrath. So our main plan is to counter them and save our Angel. But another way we can slog through the Wrath is make our opponent Wrath other stuff, like Ghostly Dancer and tokens. So let's just unlock the room. Normally, so Ghostly Dancers is good at building a board. Also, one of its main upsides is it's a way we can keep getting our rooms back from the graveyard if they die to try to make sure that we can get the hexproof lock set up. It also lets us unlock the expensive lecture hall side Maze Mindstone for our opponents. But not gonna oh, there it is. 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 Okay, so we might be able to get the lockdown next turn. We don't quite have enough mana to play the Angel as well. All right, there's the Sunfall. Well, we knew that was likely. He gets to draw with the Caretaker's talent. Maybe we gotta kill the talent just to keep them from drawing Wraths. I don't know how this game ends. What are we playing towards here? What is our actual game plan? I'm not sure if we want our opponent to draw or we want to try to stop our opponent from drawing. I already have in the back of my head that the most realistic way to win this game is milling our opponent out. Well, lecture hall. If we got interaction, I guess this is the time. If we get this down, then everything is hexproof forever. Hold Soul Partition. Well, now we can recast it for 1,000,000 mana. All right, well, one lecture hall down, second lecture hall. Gonna take its place, get down the treasure map. We might be playing for the mill 'em out plan. Down to 26. Although, like, Angel is a fast clock. I guess the other way we can win is, like, try to flash an Angel, hit you for 6, opponent Wraths, flash in another Angel, hit you for 6. They're just gaining so much life, and they have the, maybe Authority of the Consuls is actually an issue. It feels like ours is a deck that Authority of the Consuls shouldn't be good against. Yeah, I think we actually got to do it now. We're gonna blow up the Caretaker's talent. We might still be on the mill 'em out plan, but I think we have to keep our opponent from drawing that many cards. What a game! Found it. Gonna crack the map. All right, opponent's got a fountain port now. At least they don't have the Caretaker's talent. Found it. Gonna crack the map. We actually wouldn't mind them hitting and growing this, and then we could get it with the room, but. Yeah, let's cash in our treasure to do a little scrying here. Work on flipping another treasure map. Well, add a card waste to the bottom. Well, more treasure maps. Play the land. Do we just go for it again? Do we just go 9 mana lecture hall? I mean, we have enough mana that we can. If they bounce it again, though, that's so brutal. It's so much mana for nothing. We could also just aggro treasure maps. Let's play a treasure map. I guess we can wait. We can wait on the lecture hall. It's not like we're trying to get the Angel down yet anyway. Let's just stay on defense. Draw a card. The Steaming Sauna's been doing work. At some point, we might just play more Steaming Saunas to draw even more cards. Right now, we have all these treasure maps. We have pretty good filtering, but eventually they're going to run out. I feel like Steaming Sauna is actually kind of sneaky good too. That's when I could actually see bouncing with this down being worth. Like, it's only 2 mana for removal. The sauna mode's good once you get to it. Yeah, let's get rid of this Elspeth upkeep. I mean, I guess our opponent also is going to have to figure out how they are going to win. I feel like their plan is to make a bunch of tokens and eventually overwhelm us, but can they do it through Herald of Eternal Dawn? Found it, Maze Mindstone number 3. And gonna crack the map. Another Authority of the Consuls. Well, I imagine you mill that. Wow, they're keeping it. Okay. Is Authority of the Consuls good against us? I guess it does keep us from using our Angel as like a surprise blocker, but the opponent gonna get in for 2. Let's just chump sack draw. Gotta get that fountain port value. Gotta get that fountain port value. Now sack the fish. Draw a card. Well, we're gonna have a lot of heralds when the time comes. Yeah, let's do some treasure mapping. Battlefield Fjorge. Gonna go to the bottom. At this point, I think if we don't hit a land drop, it's kind of fine. We're getting lands. Well, do we want Polar? Yeah, we'll keep Elegant Polar. That's fine. So now we can draw it because we're gonna make treasures off the treasure map flipping. And then if we have a card we need on top, we can draw it with one of the flip treasure maps. Well, we definitely don't need an add a card. Waste. Also, maybe part of our opponent's reason for keeping the Authority of the Consuls is maybe they are also thinking this match could come to milling out. Maybe they just want a card on their deck. Yeah, all right. Well, 9 mana. Lecture Hall. Can you please just let us hexproof lock you, opponent? Please. Get lost. An Electro. Okay. Maybe they have enough. Maybe they have enough removal to keep us from actually assembling it. This is gonna be a wild game. Well, draw with the Steaming Sauna. Opponent gonna Mirix. Nice thing about Herald of Eternal Dawn, we found another one. We get another shot at it. The nice thing about Herald of Eternal Dawn, it just says you can't lose a game. Doesn't care if it's poison counters, doesn't care if it's milling, damage, Thassa's Oracle, like you name it. You cannot win the game, we cannot lose the game. So the might's not actually that mighty against Herald. What do you got about it? Ooh, demo field, okay. Well, we have hexproof anyway, so I don't think that actually really changes much. Gonna go aggro, turn on the incubate. Oh, sure, down to 14. I mean, we get to flip 2 treasure maps over the next turn cycle, though. That's gonna give us a lot of treasures, which turns into a lot of cards. Do we want to draw the cards? I don't know. I don't know. I feel this might be a mill match. Well, I mean, we're definitely flipping the treasure map. Herald of Eternal Dawn. Number 3. Eventually, Herald is going to matter, but we already have 2 in hand. I honestly don't mind having a Herald as the very bottom card of our deck. Because if it does come down to milling out, we are going to find that card eventually. Now let's treasure map again. Opponent. Oh, get lost our hexproof again. Well, there's a Ghostly Dancers. That Rest in Peace is actually kind of doing work. Like, you can see how not being able to get our rooms back from our graveyard with Ghostly Dancers actually keeping us from assembling a lock. I'm pretty sure even with the amount of removal our opponent has, let's just kill the incubate. With the amount of removal our opponent has, if we could just be Ghostly Dancering back our rooms, I think sooner or later we'd probably assemble the lock. But the Rest in Peace is actually both of our opponents' weird cards that seem bad in this matchup. Well, let's Ghostly Dancers. You get to gain some life. We get to unlock another Steaming Sauna for our Ghostly Dancers. Now we get to draw 3 cards each turn cycle. I mean, we're probably going to mill out before our opponent mills out, but we don't die to milling out because of Herald. If we can keep the Herald alive. Yeah, let's just Roaring Furnace. But yeah, both of their weird Authority of the Consoles, Rest in Peace, like narrow sideboard cards, they are both actually doing something here. Not that they're like insane or anything, but well, I imagine this Ghostly Dancer should force another Wrath out of our opponent's hand. Our opponent's also up to infinite life, 35. So I imagine this forces a Wrath. We get to draw a couple cards. Well, there's a Sunfall. Opponent. Well, the question is, what Wrath do they have? Is it a Sunfall? It is a Sunfall. Well, we can sack a token, draw a card. Shrink the incubate a bit. Torch the Tower, eh? Not really the matchup for Torch the Tower. Although I guess it can snipe a token eventually. Yeah, let's just pass. Upkeep. Flip the treasure map. I mean, it is a threat, right? I feel like we just need to keep metering out our threats, making our opponent Wrath. What we're really trying to do, there is no chance these Ghostly Dancers are actually going to win us the game, at least not much of a chance. But hopefully they can bait enough Sunfalls out of our opponent's deck that eventually the Herald can lock it up. That's the logic anyway. Whether or not it's actually going to work, that remains to be seen, but that's the theory. Well, we get to draw 3 extra cards. I mean, I guess this game's gonna end sometime just because we are gonna draw our deck here pretty quickly with 4 cards a turn. Well, there's a counter. Okay, we definitely need to find our last 2 counters to have any chance of making the Angel work. We're also building up a lot of mana. We maybe set up a turn where we can like double Restricted Office. Wow, Day of Judgment, good lord. Well, I mean, we could counter it, we're not gonna counter it. Same theory as before. We need to save our counters. Ghostly Dancer, not gonna win us this game, but it did its job. Got another Wrath out of our opponent's hand. And here comes the Incubate. We could Torch the Tower it and sack a map. We can also, yeah, let's run out a Herald. Oh, I'm dumb. Authority of the Consoles. Yeah, we were just talking about that card. I'm not used to people playing Authority of the Consoles. Yeah. You got us down to 10. Well, let's untap. Fountain Port. Well, play the Fountain Port. I do think damage matters here. is cast to Lecture Hall. Okay, that resolves. So now we get hexproof on the Angel. Oh, we could just cast the second one. We have enough treasures, we can. The lock would be sweet. They didn't kill the Angel, which makes me think maybe they don't have it. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Lecture Hall Part 2. Come on. Oh, are they gonna sack to Fountain Port? Did they not have it? Did we assemble the hexproof lock? Okay, if we assembled the hexproof lock, the equation changes. Opponent, Fountain Port, sack. Man, this took some effort, but we might have gotten there. Double Lecture Hall. Everything hexproof forever. So, all we gotta do is not lose our Angel to Wraths. Or all of our Angels. We can lose some of them, but if we can keep an Angel, now we can never lose the game. They can't deal with it with targeted removal. The only way we die is if they keep wrathing our Angels. Thankfully, we still have a lot of Angels to go. And this also means we don't die to milling out as long as we keep our Angel. Well, okay, there's counter number 2. Those are our last 2 counters. Opponent, Maze Mind's Tome. We are outdrawing our opponent here. We have a lot of cards in hand. Most of them don't do anything, but... Well, I mean, as long as we got the Herald, your damage is fine. Or getting it for 3, rather. So that's gonna Wrath and make a bunch of mites and gain some life. I wish we had more counters. Being down 2 counters from there, we had to spend them. Like, if we didn't spend our counters 3 steps early to draw cards, this game would have already been over because we would have missed so many land drops. This is kind of fine. We have a Sunfall in hand that's not doing anything, so we can just Sunfall it. We're gonna be setting up for an interesting turn at some point as we get lower on cards. Well, let's Sunfall. Get an Incubate. Opponent can draw if they want to. Does not even draw. Opponent just lets it go. We do pretty much everything at instant speed anyway. Draw 3. We are down to 14, 13, 12. Oh, okay. And we're drawing 4 cards a turn, so we're gonna run out of cards in 3 turns. That's not a lot. That's not a lot of time. We're either gonna have to figure out a way to kill our opponent or really be able to protect this Angel for a long time until they mill out. They have 24 cards. Ooh, that's a lot of turns of protection with just 2 counters. All right, opponent, what do we got? Another Mirrex, sure. Oh, what an this has been one of the most interesting games of Magic I've played in a minute. Control mirrors are so interesting. Well, let's torch the tower. And doubly so because we have this weird layer of all the Angel shenanigans, right? Not only do we have the control mirror, we have this can't lose the game mode on top of it, which honestly, if it wasn't for Angel, we just, I think, be dead. We're drawing 4 cards a turn. We're gonna mill out way before our opponent. But the fact that Angel can come down and let us stay alive, even with no cards in our deck, that actually really changes the entire equation. Well, gonna get rid of this Caretaker's talent. We can't let our opponent draw even more cards with that. They're just gonna find all the Raz. I think we have to get our opponent to, how do we deal 37 damage in the next few turns? I don't think the mill out plan's gonna work at this point. We're gonna run out of cards too quickly. And our opponent is going to, be able to stay alive long enough to find the Wraths. So let's make a fish. Authority of the Consuls is actually starting to matter. It feels like it should not matter, but it actually is starting to matter. Well, Incubate. At least everything has hexproof, so we can feel safe firing stuff up. We will draw another Sunfall, not the most important. Well, let's get down Fountain Port again. I think we gotta fire up the creature land and start trying to get in damage. The time has come to try to kill our opponent. Oh, we gotta tap correctly though. All right, white. And yes, I know, opponent, I know. We have too many colorless lands. It blows. Arena really likes leaving up Treasure Map and Fountain Port. So if we don't manually tap, they just leave up 8 colorless lands. Well, all right. Restless Anchorage. Map it. Please don't be a land. Okay. Any non-land is staying on top. We cannot afford to mill it. We just need to get some counters on this Anchorage to try to deal some damage. Because if we're going to win this game, we're going to have to do it pretty soon. Well, map and map and map. Yeah, we don't want the Sunfall, but we want a card in our deck still. Well, crack the map. Here comes the dorks, hit ya. I mean, that's a pretty respectable attack. Actually, they can jump block with a fish. Hit you for much less than 12. Found it. Gonna block the 5/5. All right, so we hit him for 7, down to 30. I mean, this Restless Anchorage is getting big. So we can crack the map. And that's another card that dodges the sweepers. Keep the Sunfall. Pass the turn. Draw 3 more cards. Oh, yeah. All right, 2 turns and we run out. 10, 9, 8, 7. Found it. Maze Mind Stone. Gain some life. And Mirrex, sure. Mirrex doesn't seem that relevant. I don't think they're going to kill us before we deck. The question's going to be, like, we might be able to win because of Angel. That's what I'm thinking right now. Caretaker's talent. I mean, we can't afford to spend counters on that. The only thing we will counter is sweepers that can kill our Angel at this point. You can draw the cards, you can grow your tokens, do all that stuff. We can flash in the Angel, so it's not like we're going to accidentally die here. Sure. I mean, your tokens can be as big as you want. You still can't kill us through a Herald. The bigger, the better. Pound gonna crack the map. It's a land. It's a fountain port. What a wild game. What a wild control mirror this has been. Found it. Authority of the consoles. Keeps it on top. Gonna crack the map. I mean, so our opponent can hit us to 1. They can hit us to 1, but they can't kill him. We'll go to 1, I guess. I mean, we have the Angel anyway, so if we're actually gonna die, we flash in the Angel and don't. All right, 3 poison, 1 life. This is gonna be so close. Opponent's still at 34. Well, Herald of Eternal Dawn. The time has come for the Angel. You can't win the game. We can't lose the game. We'll see. Opponent, discarding the hand size. Torch the tower. Okay, so let's fire up our Anchorage. I mean, maybe we can win this race. Can we win the race? Now we have 2 big flyers. And we can swing aggressively because as long as we keep the Angel, we don't die. Make an Anchorage. They can kill the fish if they want to. We don't care. Like, we'd rather... Wow, opponent just takes it. Oh, right. They can't block anyway. Opponent, down to 60. Now let's play the Archive. I mean, technically 6, 7. We almost have lethal next turn. We almost have lethal. Thanks to the Fountain Port, maybe? It's gonna depend. So they can make a blocker with Fountain Port, which I'm kind of surprised they didn't do this turn. I wonder what they're using their mana on. Well, we draw and draw and draw, and we're at the bottom of the barrel. We have drawn the deck. We have drawn the deck. Opponent, now they're gonna Fountain Port. Make a 1/1, draw a card. Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't do that to chump block the 5/5 to save some damage. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 cards left in our deck. We will draw literally every one during our next turn. Sure. That's fine. -10, we don't care. Can you kill the Angel? We have 2 counters. If they can kill the Angel through 2 counters, they win. Sunfall. All right, 3 steps ahead. We could copy the Angel. I don't think we need to yet, though. If we make it to our end step, we can copy the Angel to make sure we have lethal. But for now, we're gonna leave up our mana. I mean, the question is, how many rats do they got? There's 1. That does not change anything. We might have this at -10. Rats in peace, sure. Our graveyard is doubly locked down. That is fine. Wait, Herald? Herald for the win? What a ridiculous control mirror. Opponent. Do we get him? Fountain Port. Desperation. Sacks. Draws. I believe they're just straight up dead since they tapped the Fountain Port because they can't make a blocker. So now we just fire up the Anchorage. Here it comes. Wow. At -10 life, with 3 cards left in the deck, the Herald comes through. What a performance. What a performance for the Herald. I mean, we're going to cast this just to see if our opponent does anything. Kill a Might, I guess? I don't know. Watch them have Settle the Wreckage. I don't think that exists in Standard. Etherize. They don't have blue mana. All right, well, get in there. All right, opponent. Oh, did they not realize? Oh, I think they thought they had Fountain Port up, but they don't. An opponent scoops it up, and, well, that's what happens when you can't lose the game and your opponent can't win the game. Wow, what a control mirror. 2 Roaring Furnaces into Ghostly Dancers. Hold me close. Oh, all right. We're going to keep it. We don't really necessarily... Oh, mono red too. Oh, okay. Well, let's see how this goes. Fanatical Firebrand hits us. We don't really want the Herald yet because it's so much mana, but if we mill it, then our opponent knows about it, and we lose the surprise value, so I think it's worth keeping. Well, Roaring Furnace. Take down the Fanatical Firebrand. All right, opponent, what do you got? Can we live long enough? If our opponent's mono red, and they might be goblins, because usually you don't play Fanatical Firebrand. They might be like a mono red goblin deck. If they're mono red goblins, I think Herald beats them. Assuming we get it down before we're dead, which is definitely not a given, but that's the hope. All right, opponent, let's see what you got. Another mountain and squee. All right, well, we're taking 4 down to 13. Hell, all right, let's keep the furnace roaring. Actually, let's get a mountain first so we stop taking so much damage off of our mana. Throw squee in the roaring furnace. And we might be okay, because next turn we can Ghostly Dancer. We can Ghostly Dancer, make 2 blockers, start drawing cards, and then I guess we still need a couple more turns till we get to the Herald. But if we do, oh, it's so good. All right, opponent Mirix. Thankfully, they can't get the squee back. Ooh, a Patchwork Banner. That is more damage, so we're taking 4. And a Horde Master, so we're taking 6 down to 7. This is gonna be close. Well, let's play Plains. Hold me closer, Ghostly Dancers. Let's open up the Sauna, get a Spirit, draw a card. All right, we gotta survive 2 turns. Can we live 2 turns? Opponent land and attacks. Well, we're gonna block both. Kill the token, Ghostly Dancers in front of the Firebrand. If they kill the Ghostly Dancer somehow, that's kind of fine, right? Like, it did its job, which is buying us a turn. All right, Burst Lightning, sure. Well, can we survive 1 more turn? Horde Masters, whiffs, Ghost Vacuum. Oh, Torch the Tower, okay. That's actually kind of huge. Although, let's wait. They can't get back squee yet. Okay, let's play the Plains. I think what we do is just open another Steaming Sauna. Open another Steaming Sauna. Draw 2 cards. Oh, so I think the Torch the Tower just... I mean, if we did... Oh, wow, there's a Hexproof too. If we didn't draw the Torch the Tower, we might have died here. Found at land. So... Oh yeah, we would have actually died. Well, good top deck. Okay, so opponent goes to combat. I think we're good though. I think we're good because the Angels come. If opponent gets it, it's looks like lethal, but Torch the Tower, take down the Runbell Horde Master. We will take 5 down to 2, but now we're not going to be able to lose the game, and our opponent's not going to be able to win the game, which I think, wow, this is actually the straight up Angel win because because they would have lethal here, right? Even through a big blocker, they would still just have lethal. Oh, I really want to flash it in during combat because it's funnier, but we just saw Burst Lightning. And if we don't play it now and they top deck Burst Lightning, then we just die with it on the stack, and that would be embarrassing considering that we actually are doing the Angel thing. Opponent, not a fan of Fabled Passage, apparently. Hey, there we go. So we'll grab an island. I really want to do it the funny way, but yeah, we're gonna cast it. The Herald is here, opponent. You can't win the game. We can't lose the game. Can you beat the Angel next turn? We can get down our Hexproof room, and I think that totally wraps it up to the point where I don't even think we need to kill our opponent. I mean, we probably should out of respect because it would probably be pretty BM to just not attack even though we could. Opponent Mirix. Yeah, we would have died through another finisher. Like, it had to be Herald, right? Or they just swing with all this stuff and we die. Opponent. They have a new plan, I think, which is, what if we try to kill him with poison counters? Do poison counters beat a Herald? So the answer there is no, but our opponent might be giving it the old college try. We're gonna play the Lecture Hall to make sure that our Angel is not dying anytime soon. Thundering Falls. Well, we're not gonna Sunfall at this point because we have the Herald out, and yeah, we're just gonna stay on defense for now. Draw a card, draw a card. So all we need to have, like, the fullest of locks, and I think even this is the full lock against mono red because I don't think they can kill the enchantment. Enterprising Scallywag. I think even this is just the hard lock, but if we draw one more lecture room, then we actually have the hard lock opponent. Getting in with the mites. Well, we will block 1. We will drop to 0. If the angel dies, we die. Poison up to 2. But yes, we will not lose the game. You will not win the game. I guess we're just destined to draw Sunfall this turn, no matter how many we surveil away. Well, play the land. Get rid of the Spire Bluff. I think the idea of just waiting until our opponent scoops is really funny. But I feel like it's actually, I don't think we can actually do it. I feel like it's too BM to actually do. I would feel too guilty. But our opponent can scoop at any time. Like, that is an option. If you know you're dead, I really think our opponent thinks there's some chance that poison counters beat Herald. Because they see opponent's going to sack to draw a card. Sure. They seem to be very focused on trying to make these mites to poison us. Enterprising Scallywag. Sure. Yeah. That is also acceptable. Up to 5 poison. -2 life. However, we can't lose the game. You can't win the game, opponent. This is not happening. Unless you can kill the Hexproof Angel, we are not going to die. It doesn't matter what you do. We're not... I mean, I do not blame anyone for trying, but it's not a card people play. People don't play Herald of Eternal Dawn. So you might as well give it a shot. But just in case you run into this scenario, we don't mill out, we don't try to poison, we don't try to Thassa's Oracle. You name a thing. You can't win the game, we can't lose the game is about as hard as a lock gets. So when I envisioned this deck in my head, I was like, oh, it's going to be really funny, right? Because we'll take in, like, get this angel, we'll make it hexproof, our opponent will be impossible to win, and then they'll just eventually mill out or whatever. The only downside, an angel's actually a 6/6 flyer, so it actually just kills people. Like, it actually just makes people die. Let's crack our Fabled Passage. Grab an island. We can also 3 steps to copy the angel if we want to, but I think we just unlock the room. Leave up the counter, unlock the room, draw all the cards. Kind of just want one more hexproof room just to... I don't think it actually matters, but just to say we have the full lock. Mount it, Mirix. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we found another lecture hall. I mean, our opponent, they're going to achieve their goal, I think, of getting us to 10 poison. Only for their dreams to be shattered. Opponent, Goblin Tome Raider. And I don't know why they don't attack with the goblins. I guess they just don't care. Get in. That's what makes me think they're trying to win with poison, is they're not attacking with other stuff. Up to 8, -5. Still not dead. Treasure map. Well, all right. Full lock assembled. Lecture hall part 2. So now the lecture halls have hexproof. We're winning though. We don't actually want to win. Although honestly, like, if we were not a Herald of Eternal Dawn deck, we would be dead. Like, this is straight up Herald of Eternal Dawn winning us this game. If it wasn't for that, we would actually be straight up dead. Opponent, Mirix. All right, opponent. Let's see if there's an arena bug where poison works through you can't win the game effect. We're about to find out about it. Sure. And I don't know what they're trying to draw. Like, I don't know if they have, what could they possibly have in a mono red goblins deck that answers what we have going on? I don't think it exists. Opponent. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, going up to 12 poison. -9, but can't lose the game. Still can't lose the game. And opponent realizes that there ain't no coming back from an angel and scoops it up, and that was pretty good. That was actually very good. We are playing some Herald of the Eternal Dawn this week, seeing if we can create a game state where we can't lose the game and our opponent can't win the game, like ever. With a bunch of hexproof that is so good against nowhere to run opponent. Forester. Well, let's play a Shivan Reef. This hand's fine. I mean, remember, we're kind of a control deck, so it's not like we're needing to get something on the board early. We're pretty fine with drawing cards, developing our mana, killing some stuff, trying to set up the lock. So Golgari's interesting. The bad news about Golgari for us is they can probably blow up our enchantments. So I don't know how realistic the hard lock will be. Well, there's a Herald. Fountainport's a good draw. If our opponent's not going to do anything, now we can also not do anything, but at least make a might. Invasion of Zen. Okay. So the opponent's like Golgari Ramp, I guess? Invasion of Zendikar. Gonna snag a couple of lands. Sure. Yeah, I guess we play the untap land, and we're just gonna play the Steaming Sauna, start around some cards. into, wow, even more Sunfalls. Okay, sure. Sure. Wow, Invasion's on to card number 2. Well, opponent's gonna have all the mana. That is for certain. That is a lot of ramping. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Opponent's got like 10 mana. Gonna be dying to an Emrakul here shortly. Found it. Passes. What are we doing this turn? Elegant Parlor. Ooh, treasure map. Do we want treasure map? Yeah, I think we mill it here. I don't think we actually need it at the moment. We already have the sauna going, so we have a card advantage engine. Let's just pass, draw a card. We don't really want our opponent flipping these invasions with their creature lands. These creature lands are going to be a bit of a battle, I think, because they can use their Restless Cottage to try to flip, and it dodges a lot of our removal. We have triple Sunfall, but Sunfall is not good against creature lands. Well, Fountain Port, make a treasure. I feel like Make a Treasure is sneakily like an incredibly strong mode on Fountain Port that rarely gets used. I feel like I default too much, I think, to making fish. When I think a lot of times in scenarios like this, it's actually just better to make a treasure than a fish. I think the extra mana is worth more than a 1/1 body a lot of the times. All right, here comes a Restless Cottage. The upside of all that ramping is our opponent has so much mana to activate it. Well, opponent gonna get into the invasion of Zendika. Now, we do have 2 Get Lost. Do we want to spend them on the creature land? I mean, I guess this turn we can chump sack, draw. Yeah, let's do that. Let's block the Restless Cottage. Fountain Port. After my big spiel about making treasures. But drawing cards are also pretty good. Oh, another Herald. Oh, we really need Hexproof, though. I imagine our opponent's gotta have some removal going on over there. That's one thing that Golgari's pretty good at, is killing stuff. Really like to find the lecture hall before we start angeling. I mean, thankfully we're at 19, so we're not in danger of immediately dying, or even really under that much pressure, honestly. Another 3 steps ahead. Well, pass the turn. I do love having no max hand size. The sauna is doing some work. Found it. Are we eating our food? No. Blue mana. Okay, that's notable. So they could have negates or something. Bonnet fires up the cottage. Well, this time I think we just kill it. Get rid of the Restless Cottage. Well, creature land number 1 down. Still got another one floating around over there. Opponent doesn't fire it up though. Opponent's just gonna pass. Well, treasure mode. Make me some treasure. I mean, getting up to 14 mana lets us play a Lecture Hall and a Herald in the same turn. Now Steaming Sauna number 2? Eventually, we will draw into a Lecture Hall. Maybe. No. Okay. Well, we get to draw 2. The other nice thing about the treasures is it lets us do stuff like this, right? Where because of the treasures, we can actually play the Steaming Sauna. Triple Invasion of Zendikar. Sure. Keep on ramping. We can do stuff like play the Steaming Sauna and still have up mana for 3 steps ahead, which is kind of huge here. Opponent. Restless Cottage. I think we just try to... I feel like these creature lands are actually worth the Get Lost, just because they dodge so much of our other removal. Normally you're like, okay, well, creature lands... Ooh, Smuggler's Surprise for Hex... Oh, they're Smuggler Surprising. Smuggler's Surprise for Hexproof. Well, we're not going to spend a counter on that. I mean, I guess we also have enough mana that we can just let our opponent flip one of these and then Sunfall it. But that is a living creature land. Yeah, a lot of times with creature lands, they're not like super high tier removal targets because you're like, well, my opponent's got to spend 4 mana, technically 5 if you tap the creature land too. They're spending 5 mana to get a creature. Maybe it's okay if my opponent keeps spending 5 mana to get a creature. Maybe I want that actually for tempo purposes, but another Get Lost is good. Let's Sunfall away this thing. But our opponent has so much mana that it really doesn't matter. Like our opponent they can fire up all the creature lands they want and still do other stuff. So we just gotta kill them. All right, opponent. Vault-Born Tyrant. That is a good one. Sure. Well, thankfully we still have many Sunfalls. I imagine our opponent felt like this was a good time because we just used our Sunfall, but do we just Get Lost it? Probably. They never end. Never ending creature lands. All right, Get Lost. Well, I mean, I guess if we make them use another Smuggler's Share, Smuggler's Cottage, Smuggler's Surprise. There's too many Smugglers in Magic. Smuggler's Surprise for Hexproof. That'd still be a win. Another land, eh? Well, let's Sunfall away the Vaultborn Tyrant. Pass. I mean, there is some power in drawing 3 cards a turn and having no max hand size, which is... You should have the thing you need when you need it. Oh, there, finally found some hexproof. And opponent, more Vaultborn Tyrants. This time uncounterably, thanks to the Cavernous Souls. Got another big creature. Gonna crack some maps. We did give our opponent a lot of maps. Okay, hits a land. Gonna crack a map. And, ooh, Overlord, eh? Do we just have to Sunfall another Vaultborn Tyrant? We've used our Sunfalls pretty aggressively here. We only have 2 left. Found it. Cracks the map. Sure. Grows a Vaultborn Tyrant. It is getting big, though. We might have to. Opponent's going to pass? Yeah, pass on the turn. Well, let's fire up an Incubate. I think we can wait another turn. I don't think we have to Sunfall yet. I think we can survive. I think we really want hexproof. Lecture Hall. Because what we really want is just to assemble the lock. Like, that's the actual dream, is to assemble the lock. So let's get down Lecture Hall. Let's pass the turn. There's also a chance that our opponent tries to use their Tyrant to flip their invasions. Because our opponents, so far, they have seemed to put a really high value on flipping these invasions as Zendikar for some reason. So I wouldn't be that surprised if they try to do that. And then we just don't care. Like, sure, flip it. Flip it, do your thing. I guess I get to draw a card off Vaultborn, which makes it a little better. But flip it, and then we'll just Sunfall everything. Yeah, those have hexproof. You're not targeting them. Is Lecture Room actually good? I mean, it's maybe it's not. Is it though? It's good in our deck. It's so bad against Nowhere to Run. Nowhere to Run really makes Lecture Hall a lot worse. But I feel like they should be going face here. But maybe. The thing is, I don't think they can outdraw us. I think they cannot outdraw us. So I think if I was in our... All right, opponent's going to go for the flip, sure. They do get to draw a card off Vaultboard. If I was in my opponent's seat, my reasoning would be, I'm not going to outdraw my opponent in this scenario. So my job is to try to end this game and not try to win with card advantage. Like, yeah, it's nice you get to draw a card with the Vaultborn, and I do love drawing extra cards, but we just have so many cards in hand and are drawing so many each turn that I'm not sure you can win that battle. Instead, your best bet might be like, okay, like smack you with this big trampler and maybe I can just get you dead if you can't play your cards fast enough. Opponent gonna crack the last map. It is a Shoot the Sheriff, which, wow, they're gonna keep? I don't know why you keep Shoot the Sheriff against, unless they're gonna answer the Lecture Hall. Untap. Torch the Tower. Well, let's play the Plains. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The only downside of this deck, 6. The only downside of this deck is you gotta manually tap a lot. I think we just try to get the hexproof lockdown. If they have instant speed enchantment removal, it could go wrong. Although we could spend our 3 steps ahead to defend it. We'll see what they do. Lecture Hall Part 2. Wow. Okay. I was not expecting that just to resolve. Okay. And we actually have 14 mana. So we actually have just enough mana that we can play the Angel if we want to. And hopefully that just wins us the game, right? We have the full hexproof lock. That should do it. Opponent, ooh, Smuggler Surprise. I feel like we should counter this, but we came here to play the Angel, and we did all of this specifically to play the Angel. I think yeah, we gotta counter it. Actually, you know what? We came here to play the Angel, sure. I don't think it's gonna beat our Angel. We're gonna trust in the power of our lock. So Smuggler Surprise away, go get. What are they gonna put in? More? Oh. All right, I wasn't expecting a Troxa. What do they find? Drakus? Oh, no! Where to run? Oh, no. Oh, we're going to lose now. We should have countered. We trusted in our Angel too much. We put too much trust in the Angel. We should have just countered it. I'm pretty sure we lose because we didn't counter it now. Maybe this was going to happen eventually, inevitably. But the problem we have now is, yeah, there's Nowhere to Run. Oh, and that undoes all of our work. We can counter it, but if we counter it, then we die in the backswing. We can play the Angel, but then they shoot the Sheriff the Angel. Oops. Well, I think that was mostly a content play. We knew the right thing. We knew the safe line, not the right thing. The safe line was just to counter it. But we came here to lock people with the Angel. I was not expecting a Troxa into nowhere to run. That was not something on my radar. And there's the shoot the sheriff, and sure. I mean, got a little removal, got some 3 steps ahead, some sunfalls. Oh dear. All right, well, mono red on the play, and that's another sunfall. Do we live until we get to sunfall? That is the question. I mean, obviously, against a deck like this, if we get down the Angel, oh boy, Manifold Mouse. If we get down the Angel, I think we just win. I don't think they can win through the Angel, but getting to the Angel might be a problem. Well, let's play the land, and I guess we pass and trust that they're going to target the Heartfire hero, and then we kill it. Bone it. Manifold Mouse, Heartfire hero. Maybe we can get more value? Pump spell? Nah. All right. Come on, no protection. If they have protection, we're kind of dead. All right. Well, Heartfire hero down. Not dead yet. Down to 13. Down to 12. And Bonnet gonna do a little map cracking. Burst lightning. Gonna keep it on top. Gotta crack that map. Bonet's gonna wait. Oh, well, that's awkward. It is a little awkward that we got all these fountain boards and could really use a blue source. Having up a counter here would at least be something. Gonna smack us. I mean, I guess we 3 steps ahead to draw, maybe? I don't even know what that's doing for us. We dropped to 8. Yeah, I mean, I guess we try. I guess we could hit targeted removal, but then they can turn on their land. Well, let's see. More 3 steps ahead, still no blue mana. Well, they probably don't need all the fountain boards in the world. And, well, okay, there's the Herald. If they don't kill us for several more turns. And seize the line. I think we're just dead, right? So that's 3, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, that's... looks like lethal to me. Yeah, egg around the play might be tough unless we have the right hand. It is Angel time. We are playing some Herald of Eternal Dawn. Trying to make it so our opponent can never win and we can never lose. Angel lock. Angel locking them. This hand, I mean, hopefully they're aggro. But if they're aggro, this hand's pretty solid. If our opponent's some random control deck, then I guess we're very sad. But at least we got a fountain port. Let's see. Oh boy. Oh, okay, mono red. Well, this hand actually seems very well set up for mono red. Not only do we have a bunch of cheap removal, most of it exiles, which is really nice against the Heartfire hero. I think we do start on the Surveil land, though. We can't play untapped red on turn 1 anyway. Treasure map, I love. I think it's probably a little slow against a mouse deck, though. Those sneaky mice. I got a mouse in my house, and I have Cece lives here, my cat, right? That stowed away and lives here now. I swear she will not get that mouse. She will not get that mouse, no matter how much I beg her. This one mouse is maybe I just gotta let the mouse live here too, like Cease. Maybe it's put in enough effort and avoided the cat long enough that maybe it's just another pet now. Well, what did we get rid of? Yeah. It's a tough choice. I feel like exiling the hero is safest in the long run. But we might take a lot of damage this turn. Found it, Heartfire hero. There's also some argument of trying to wait and do it at instant speed, but it's too easy to get blown out by pump spells with a Torch to the Tower. If we had hard removal, waiting would be good. But with soft removal like Torch, I think you gotta treat it a little bit like Infect and just try to kill it while you can, because the risk is so high. On the other hand, if you're losing, then you might have to take that risk and just try to do anything you can to shake things up. Bono gets in. Monstrous Rage. Okay, well, we thought we were taking some damage, and yeah, down to 12. Although, oh wait, do they have more? Oh, are they gonna fling it? Ooh, all right. Well, I guess it was correct to kill that Heartfire hero, because if they were flinging the Heartfire hero, we would just straight up be dead. All right, down to 4, and we have 2 lands currently, but our opponent's down to 1 card, and we can kill the Heartfire hero. I mean, maybe we have enough removal encounters that we can actually survive this. It's gonna be close. Well, kill the Heartfire hero. Pass the turn. We got to get lost ready if necessary. Next turn, okay, opponent passes. That's good. That's good. All right, up to 4 mana. We just need to get to, we need to get to 7. We need to get to 7 and the Angel wins us the game. Opponent. That we need to counter. Urboss Forge just beats us. We don't have an answer for it. So yeah, there goes the 3 steps ahead. Opponent passes. Well, treasure map. Okay. We'll just pass though. I think our best plan is just making a treasure, and that actually gets us to Angel next turn. And I think that's gonna do it. Opponent passes. Fabled Passage. Crack it. Grab a plant. I cannot believe. I mean, we needed our opponent to draw a couple lands, and they did. So we got a little lucky, but I can't believe we're gonna Angel mono red. What do you got? Monastery Schwiftspiel. Uh-huh. Well, I mean, we're gonna flash in the Angel. Opponent. I don't even think we block it though. We'll just take it. I think blocking it's too risky. If we block it, then who knows? They could have like Witch Stalker's Frenzy or something silly. Well, now we can never die as long as the Angel lives. I guess we kill the Swift Spear and play the land. If we find Hexproof, 100% over. It is possible they could have like double Lightning Strike or something to kill the Angel. But let's fire up the room, start drawing cards. Hit you. Down to 14. And find another treasure map. Opponent passing. All right, Sunfall, not the most helpful at the moment. Well, get and hit you. That was a good example of the power of making treasures with Fountain Port too. Like, that one treasure to ramp us 1 turn ahead was pretty much the difference between winning and losing, between getting the Angel down in time and being dead. Let's play a treasure map. I don't think it's going to be super relevant because our opponent does not have much time to find an answer to the Angel, but I might as well. Opponent land. Also worth an opponent scoops it up, and yeah, Angel power. Mono red, not an easy matchup, but if we get the Angel down fast enough, it is pretty much GG. We're gonna try it. I'm a little scared. The curve is high. We do have a Surveil land, but the curve is high and we got no blue mana for this 3 steps ahead. Hopefully our opponent's playing a slower deck. Dimir, all right. Storm Chaser's Tail. I don't know if I'd count this as a slower deck or not. Well, there's blue mana. That's good. Okay, that makes me feel a little better. I mean, Zanda has a lot of power. If we just hit our land drops and cast our stuff, it does have a lot of power in it. And we even have the Herald, which this matchup, I think, I don't know. Dimir, I think, is probably the nightmare just because our plan very much revolves around giving everything hexproof to protect the Angel. And Dimir has nowhere to run, which just happens to be really good at preventing hexproof. Opponent, Schwamp, and Hopeless Nightmare. Well, we gotta discard the Angel. I don't like our opponent knowing about it, but I don't think we have a choice. I don't think we keep a 7-drop at the moment. Opponent, another Storm Chaser's Talent gets in, hits us down to 15. Well, Inspiring Vantage and Roaring Furnace. Snipe one of those otters. I guess our opponent's down to, well, 4 cards in hand now, but they've spent a lot of cards. I really want to try to build a room. Another one? All right. Another Hopeless Nightmare. Well, we'll get rid of the Sunfall. Found it hits us down to 11. The damage on Hopeless Nightmare is so good. We're losing all of our Angels. Yeah, I gotta surveil it away though. We don't really have a choice here. We need stuff we can do now that keeps us alive in the short term down to 10. Opponent passes. There's a restricted office, although unfortunately, this is just not the best matchup for Hexproof. Opponent, Storm Chaser's Talent, Part 3, Tron Assembled. Yeah, down to 8. I think we got to draw with 3 steps because we can't even cast it anyway, or we can't cast the counter mode. As long as we hit a land, at least we can Sunfall, which does not guarantee us winning this game, but it does deal with 2 otters, I guess. Well, play the land and sweep them up. Get rid of those otters for now. The problem is eventually they're going to start bouncing Hopeless Nightmares, and that's a concern. I don't know how we get around the bouncing. Spyglass, Shiren, and gonna crack the map on the Siren. Draw a land. And opponent passing. Well, let's play the land, and I guess we just Ghostly Dancer. Opponent. So we get to unlock our room, snipe the Spyglass Siren. Oh, okay. I think our opponent could have killed it earlier and not give us the token, but we'll accept it. Oh, but oh no. No. All right, nowhere to run. That is an issue. I mean, we can kill it. I don't know if we can afford to kill it, because we might need to spend a removal on other things, but that does mean our hexproof plan is pretty much offline. Draw an extra card. We also got to keep this creature land in mind. Kind of hoping they fire it up and we can kill it, because that's going to make it hard to tap out. It's us down to 6. Well, let's treasure map. And, all right, I mean, we don't have the protection for it, but Angel could still buy us some time. It's possible. Well, play the land, go to combat. And I think we just, well, all right. Flood Pit Drowner. Can't really stop that. Well, are we just going to have to run out the Angel and hope that it sticks? I mean, I guess our opponent only has 2 cards in hand, but... Ooh, 3 steps ahead. Okay, so now I think our plan is live, flip the treasure map, and then we can Angel and have a counter up. Because we know they can Storm Chaser's talent to get back the go for the throw. So we know that's a thing they can do. So we'll kill the Flood Pit Drowner. We'll take one down to 5. All right, gonna crack the map. I imagine they were hoping to hit a land there. Finds the land. That lets them fire up the reef, which is a concern. Although if they fire up the reef, the Angel should live for the turn. Fear of isolation to get back. Hopeless. Oh, it's looking a little grim. Gonna be down to 3. This Angel's gonna have to really carry about it. Hopeless nightmare. Well, restricted office. Gotta go. Hexproof doesn't do anything this matchup, and our opponent's stuff's too small for the Wrath mode. Grab a plains. Treasure map. Do we want that? Probably not. Because we can just upkeep treasure map anyway. I guess we really want another... Yeah, get rid of the restricted office. We really just want to find another counter. So we do have enough mana that we flip treasure map. We can play the Angel and counter to protect the Angel. Oh, maybe. Oh, it's going to be close. All right, treasure map. Flip it. Oh, it is good, but do we even care? Or do we just need to fully protect the Angel? Can we cast it? We can't cast it this turn and the counter. Yeah, I think we just need more. We just want more counters. That's all we need. Well, play the land. Yeah, I mean, I guess we just run out the Angel while our opponent's tapped out. Draw an extra card. Sunfall. Well, Sunfall's not very good anyway because of the reef, even if we didn't have the Angel. So our opponent can get back the go for the throw, but then we can counter. But then we have to hit something else because they do this again next turn. Try to skill the Angel. We will 3 steps ahead. Sadly, if we had 1 more mana, we could. Actually, 2 more mana. If we had 2 more mana, we could make a copy of it too, which would be good. Angel's alive, which means we're alive, and you can't win the game. We can't lose the game. But the Sunfall's not going to save us. I imagine our opponent does not attack. Opponent passes, we draw land. Well, sack the treasure, draw a card. Kind of in desperation mode here. Okay, that's a 3 steps ahead. This game, since we can't just hexproof lock forever, we do need to kill our opponent. That's our best bet, is to actually make our opponent die before they can get out from under the Angel because of this nowhere to run. So I imagine our opponent, if they don't have anything in hand, they can do the same thing. Get back to go for the throat, try to kill the Angel. This time, they're going to hit us to 0 first, which makes sense. So now, if the Angel dies, we just die immediately. But we don't die now, because we got the Angel about it. All right, let's do it. Takes it up. Gets back to go for the throat. Go for the throat to the Angel. Wait, do we win? Do we actually just win right now? I think we win. 3 steps ahead. Counter it. Draw. Copy. Angel part 2. And then we have the creature land. So we actually have, and I guess also the incubate. Draw, discard, and the Angel against a mirror. Well, we couldn't lock him forever. But... And now the flex to show what we're trying to do. But we could lock them just long enough to sneak in lethal at 0 life and Angel power. That is the power of Platinum Angel and Herald of Eternal Dawn. It's a good one. Sweet. Get the angel, hexproof the angel, make it so we never die, and then, I mean, that's the same as winning. Like, if you could never die, you will win eventually. That's the way magic works. Opponent. Black mana and duress. Oh, we were really leaning on this treasure map with only 2 lands. Maybe they don't take it. Maybe, I don't know. Is treasure map thought of as a scary card? I would think I would snap off treasure. Well, all right, gonna take the counter. That's fine. Treasure map's the card we needed the most here just because we got to make sure we hit our land drops. And treasure map doesn't guarantee it, but at least it helps. Let's Mega Plains. Play the Shivan Reef, play the treasure map, set a little upkeep stop for our next turn moment. Verge, well, all right. Oh, I should have scried. Very Mastermind. Well, let's torch the tower. Well, this time we can treasure map scry. Opponent, land, passing. Well, scry is a land treasure map. Definitely not a ghostly dancer. Upkeep. Scry. Land, please. All right. It's a little tapped, but we will take it. At least it's a land. And then next turn, treasure map flips. And then we actually have a lot of mana. Opponent, land, and Archfiend of the Dross. Ooh, and we hit the land. This seems like more traditional Dimir. This might not be bouncy Dimir. This version of Dimir might be less likely to have nowhere to run, which then makes our lock, because we have the full lock in hand, right? We have everything to lock the game. As long as they don't have nowhere to run, we have double hexproof and the angel. Actually, let's take an island. And we will flip the treasure map. Ooh, 3 steps ahead. We really want 3 steps ahead, but we need lands more at the moment. And let's just get down restricted office. This will deal with the Archfiend of the Dross. Pass turn. Now we could actually use a Ghostly Dancer to unlock our expensive room here. Huh. Let's sack a treasure. Draw a card. Okay, there's a Ghostly Dancer. Oh, do we want to spend our treasure on it? Probably not. Fairy Mastermind. Well, that we can kill if we need to. This is actually not going too badly so far, though. Surprisingly. Wow, passing. Oh, I guess, so that means they don't have removal and they're afraid of the anchorage? Well, let's kill the Mastermind. Don't really want to let our opponent start drawing cards for free. All right, well, pass the turn. Sort of a weird game where we've both stopped drawing lands. Like, we hit our early land drops, but then both players kind of stopped drawing lands. Jace the Perfected Mind. Okay, so is our opponent like a mill deck? Mill might actually be good with the new Ether Drift stuff. There's some good mill cards in that set. Well, opponent, gonna draw with Jays. We're gonna kill the Jays. Mills, a bunch of non-lands, which is kind of fine because we really would like to draw land here. Well, all right. At least the coast is clear for Ghostly Dancers. Let's Ghostly Dancers. Unlock. Hexproof achieved. Man, if we can get down one more lecture hall. Oh, opponent duresses. Well, I imagine they take the lecture hall. No, get lost. Okay. Do we just slam it? And if it resolves, we just win? No lecture hall. We're gonna try it. Come on, no counter. No counter, no removal, no bounce. Just nothing, just, ooh, spell stutter. All right, well, that works. Archfiend of the Dross Part 2. Well, let's play the Spire Bluff. I guess treasure map. Yeah, pass the turn. Archfiend taken down. It's gonna be close. Opponent finds a land. We're gonna do some map cracking and a land. Well, all right, here comes the lands our opponent was not finding. Top card is a land, sure. Sure, and top card is Deadly Cover-Up. Huh. How bad is that for us? There's no Herald of Eternal Dawn in the graveyard, thankfully. Opponent, combat. Yeah, let's do a little scrying here. Well, get lost. Not gonna complain about that, facing down a 8/8 Archfiend. Yeah, I guess we just chump sack draw. Might as well. We still take 2, but 2 is a lot better than 8. And drawing a card's good. The question is, do we just try to slam an Angel? Actually, we don't even have enough white mana yet. Okay, we're not slamming an Angel yet. Yeah, we're gonna have white mana from the treasure, so I don't think we need that one. Another Ghostly Dancer. Ghostly Dancer is not horrible though, because it can actually get back enchantments from our graveyard, getting back another restricted office / lecture hall. That gives us another shot at assembling the lock, but we also want to not die to Archfiend. Let's just pass the turn, see what our opponent does. We don't really want to play out more creatures into the deadly cover-up either. Opponent getting in. Yeah, I think we got to do it. Kill the Archfiend. Oh, okay. Well, this just took a turn. Archfiend into Doomsday Excruciator. So, we each have 6 cards now. How does this play out? This might be okay. Okay, bad news. Our opponent has a Wrath. The Wrath can answer our Angel. Good news. We can flash an Angel on our upkeep when we have 0 cards in our deck to survive a turn. Well, let's flip the treasure map. I'd really like to find a counter. Another counter would be the best, because we need a counter for this deadly cover-up if our Angel's gonna actually carry. We can get back restricted office. Is that even worth it? So opponent does have to draw 2 cards, and we draw 1. I guess technically we don't need to Herald yet. Like, we don't die this turn. We don't draw out this turn. Wow, what an interesting scenario. What a cool game. Maybe we need to bait the deadly cover-up. Let's Ghostly Dancers. Okay, here's our new plan. We're gonna Ghostly Dancers. Get back another restricted office. Our opponent very likely is going to Wrath here, right? They have 4 cards. We have 5. Opponent plays land, so I imagine they Wrath here. Do they still Wrath if we block? Probably not. Yeah, we'll take 6. We'll drop to 10. If they Wrath, then that clears the way for the Herald to hopefully win us the game. All right, there's the deadly cover-up. Opponent gonna collect some evidence. No Angel in the graveyard though, so they can't take the Angel. Ooh, all right. Well, that's 1 less card, so we're down to 4. Opponent's also at 4. 3. So we're gonna mill out first. We don't even know if we have a counter left. We don't really want to draw extra cards. That doesn't seem helpful. Let's play the treasure map. We can still run out the Angel. I mean, what we're hoping is we can use the Angel to survive a critical turn, and then our opponent mills out first. Whether or not that'll actually happen, right now, gonna make a 6/6, sure. The 6/6 is fine. That doesn't beat us. Can we find a counter in the bottom of our deck? 4 cards. Are any of them counters? Treasure map. Oh, there it is. There it is. That's a 3 steps ahead. That might be the card. That might be the card that does it. So we draw the 3 steps ahead. Do we flip treasure map now? Let's just pass. 2 cards for our opponent. Down to 4. Well, let's flip the treasure map. See what's on the top of our deck. Inspiring Vantage. Okay, to the bottom. And yeah, untap. Add a Carways. All right, so our deck is kind of useless. This is what we got. Can the Angel save us? Opponent untaps. Well, we're gonna have a big battle. We're gonna have a battle over this Angel, and it's gonna determine the winner of the game. Opponent combat attacks with the demon. Well, let's flip our treasure map. Take a look at our Inspiring Advantage. Hooray. Our final card. Herald of Eternal Dawn. Opponent. Can you beat it? Can you stop it? Here comes Angel. Opponent's got 6 cards in hand with their control deck. A lethal attack from a demon on the battlefield. Opponent lets it resolve. Interesting. Sheoldred's Edict. Well, okay. Copy. Counter. This is a game. 3 steps ahead. Does it work? Do they have another removal spell? Spell Stutter. We have 2 mana. We can pay the 2. Do you have another one? Do you have another spell? Do we get it? Did we get the Angel win against Amir? Outrageous Robbery. Exile their last card. Not relevant. With 0 cards in our deck. With -3 life. The Angels are they're gonna carry. fire up the restless anchorage, combat, attack, and that's how you win the game. By making it so you can never lose the game and your opponent can never win the game. And that was a pretty sweet win. Wow. So what do we learn this week about Herald of Eternal Dawn in Standard? In record-wise, we had a 41% win rate across almost 30 games with the deck, which, not a great record, but also like a fine record for it against the odds deck. So as far as Herald of Eternal Dawn itself, we got to see some super sweet wins with the deck. We got to see some wins where I think Herald was pretty much the only card that exists in Standard that would have let us win the game, or we can flash it in, we're about to die, and win at -10 life or whatever. It did some really, really cool things. Although I will say, ran into a problem with the plan of setting up the hexproof lock and making it so we can never die. There were actually two problems. So problem number one is nowhere to run. It was really a blowout against black decks. We do all this work and spend all this mana to set up this hexproof lock, and it's kind of annoying that this 2-mana enchantment can undo it. So we really got to make sure we have a counter for it when that comes up. The other issue is, I guess, actually a good issue, but Herald of Eternal Dawn is actually a real clock. We had some games where we had the lock completely set up, and we could have just never attacked and won the game eventually thanks to the lock, but it feels really wrong if we have this free attack with a 6/6 flyer to not be swinging in with it. It feels like kind of BM. So I felt like we had to attack with it, or else we're kind of being a jerk to our opponent. So a lot of times we'd get the lock set up, but then it would only last like 4 turns because the Herald would just kill our opponent with flying damage. So I guess we need a pretty specific matchup for the lock to actually last forever. Like, we need our opponent to have some big flyers so we can't attack with Herald and then have the entire lock set up. And it just, across 30 games, that situation never kind of came up. But I will say Herald of Eternal Dawn, I feel like this card's kind of a bit of a sleeper. It's actually really powerful. Having flash on a Platinum Angel is a really huge deal. Being able to flash it in when the opponent's not expecting it to fizzle lethal damage. It's kind of like this weird fog on top of being this huge body on top of being a Platinum Angel. So I think the card's actually pretty interesting and probably worth thinking more about, because even if it's not in this crazy lock deck, it could actually serve a purpose in Standard. But anyway, that is Herald of Eternal Dawn for Standard. That is what happens when we can never lose the game and our opponents can never win the game. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will talk to you soon.